Welcome to the podcast that will teach you how to successfully invest in and build steady streams of passive income from the highly lucrative niche of mobile home park investing. Veteran real estate investors Kevin Bupp and Charles Dehart from Mobile Home Park Academy will personally share with you the valuable lessons they've learned along their journey as mobile home park investors, so that you too can learn how to build massive cash flow and huge profits from this extremely lucrative niche. So without further ado, let's welcome your hosts for today's show, Kevin Bupp and Charles Dehart.
Welcome, guys and gals, to the Mobile Home Park Investing Weekly Podcast, where we'll provide all the information that you need to know to successfully locate, negotiate, close on, and make huge profits from the lucrative niche of mobile home park investing. I'm your host, Kevin Bupp, and in today's show, we're going to be speaking with the Director of Business Development at Snickfish, Aaron Shashamovitz. Snickfish is a title management company focused in mobile home real estate, mechanic, and storage facility markets. And you might be wondering, why the heck would it be important to have a title expert on the show? Well, if you spend any time around the mobile home park niche, then you've surely heard of abandoned homes. And if you currently own a mobile home park today, then you might even have a few abandoned homes in your own park now. Case in point, guys, if you intend to enter into this niche, then you will need to get familiar with the abandoned title process of the state in which your park resides. Residents abandon mobile homes for a variety of reasons. I've seen just about everything from eviction to where you evict them out of their home, but they can't afford to move it. And so you end up having this abandoned home there. Or maybe they lost their job and they can't afford to move the home, or they just leave, right? They just let the home go. Maybe they pass away or die. Skipping town, maybe they're running from the law. Or maybe just the mobile home is so dilapidated and they can't afford to fix it and the roof's leaking and it's just a mess and they just get up and leave one night. And really the list goes on and on. There's so many different reasons why homes become abandoned in a mobile home park, okay? The goal, once you have an abandoned home, is to obtain the legal ownership of that mobile home so that you can either renovate it and resell it or rent it, or legally remove it from your property, demolish it or remove it from your property. And sometimes that's easier said than done. Actually, for the most part, that's easier said than done. It's very challenging to stay current with state laws and regulatory mandates governing abandoned property. Mobile home park owners and property management companies are constantly battling with the state, local courts, and DMV bureaucracy. What works today might not work tomorrow. And that's where Snickfish comes in. Just jump on their website and provide them with a few details, then wait for your title. And it's really that simple. And so I'm anxious to get onto the show with Aaron and learn how his company, Snickfish, can save us mobile home park investors endless frustrations when dealing with abandoned titles. But before we do, guys, here's a quick word from our show sponsor, Sunrise Capital Investors. Hey guys, Kevin Bupp here with Sunrise Capital Investors. As you are hopefully already well aware if you've been a listener for any period of time, my goal has always been to provide you with as much value as I possibly can through my two podcasts, Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow and the Mobile Home Park Investing Podcast. As our audience continues to grow, literally, we've been downloaded millions of times by folks in over 125 countries. I've had thousands of people reach out looking to get involved in our niche. And that's the phenomenal niche of mobile home park investing. For those that don't know, I've been a full-time real estate investor for nearly 20 years now, and I've personally invested in and have owned apartment complexes, various commercial properties, hundreds of single-family rentals, and I've interviewed some of the most successful investors in just about every other asset class, and I've arrived at this one very simple conclusion. Mobile home parks are hands down the best investment I've found to date. Why? They provide investors with the best risk-adjusted returns out of any other real estate sector that I've seen. Investing in real estate can get complicated, and I really want to simplify this process for you. If you're someone who wants to diversify away from the uncertainty of Wall Street and allocate a percentage of your real estate portfolio to mobile home parks, but maybe you don't have the time nor the inclination to personally locate good deals yourself, then our team will do it for you. At Sunrise Capital Investors, our team specializes in the acquisitions and management of undervalued and highly profitable mobile home parks. And we are now providing accredited investors with an opportunity to participate directly alongside our team in our up-and-coming deals. And let me say this, I believe that we are hands down the best in our space at sourcing highly profitable off-market deals. That's really what makes us unique in this niche and as investment managers. As stewards of your capital, we truly are aligned with our investors. We've structured our investment fund so that we as a company are incentivized in the same way the investor is. which is through the performance of the investment itself. In addition, we want to make sure that we not only make money for our investors, but that they understand how it's being made. That's why we provide our accredited partners with a private monthly podcast that walks them through the detailed updates on how their investment is performing. And we're very transparent, providing you with the good, the bad, and the ugly at times. And so if you'd like to learn more about the partnership opportunities with our team here at Sunrise, please go visit sunrisecapitalinvestors.com and click on the investors link to get signed up. It's absolutely free and you'll get placed on the priority list of when new opportunities come along. Also, feel free to call us at 833-CASH-FLOW without the O. Again, that's 833-CASH-FLOW without the O. And one of our investor relations team members will help you schedule an appointment to speak with one of our managing principals. If you have questions, go ahead and schedule a call and let's get on the phone and talk. And with that, guys, I like to leave with one last thought. From the time that I wake up in the morning till the time that I lay my head down the rest of the evening, my number one priority with everything I do, whether it be recording this podcast, working for our investors, helping each of you reach your investment goals, to providing a great experience to each of our residents who reside in our communities, is to add huge amounts of value to everyone that I come in contact with. Now, with that being said, I look forward to the opportunity of bringing value to you through Sunrise and through this podcast. Thank you for your time. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the show. All right. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our guest for today's show, Aaron Shashamovitz. Aaron, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm good, Kevin. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, but I'm excited to talk to you about titles today. I know it's not really all that exciting of a topic, but it kind of is, because this can be a pain in the butt for a mobile home park owner like ourselves. I mean, we run into all these different state regulatory standards, and the last thing you want are these mobile homes in your community that aren't bringing in revenue, right? And so
correct.
It can be a challenge. Every state has its own set of unique challenges, and that's really where your company comes in. And so I'm excited to dig deep into the services that Snickfish provides. But before we do, Aaron, maybe just take a few minutes and tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself, kind of your background and really how you got into the title business, if you would.
Well, my background has been mostly in sales and marketing. I was kind of recruited on the go as I was minding my own business with my kids at the skating rink. A guy approached me and said, "Hey, are you the guy that's doing all the marketing for this place? Because it's packed." And that's kind of how I came in on board on Snickfish. I was doing some side ventures on my own, and realistically, my passion is just laid within design, marketing, networking with individuals, and being creative.
Okay, fantastic. That's kind of interesting. Skating rinks. I mean, the fact that, I kind of look at skating rinks as somewhat of a dying breed. I mean, when I was,
they are
not to get off track, but when I was, 7, 8, 9, 10, I mean, I spent days upon days every week at the skating rink, typically 2 or 3 nights a week. We're there all the time, and those things were packed. We had 2 in our air, and they were awesome. And I know they're still around today, but surely kids today aren't as into skating, roller skating, as we were back when we were kids. Not to age myself, but it was a great pastime back then. But in any event, so it gives you a lot of credibility, being that you took a dying model and basically packed this place. I mean, so much that you impressed a businessman to approach you and say, "Hey, what have you been doing here? This is quite special, what you've created." So that's a pretty cool story. So tell me a little bit about Snickfish. Give us the 10,000-foot view of who Snickfish is and what services you guys provide.
So from the high overview, Snickfish is a title management and processing agency. We are located in Maryville, Tennessee, and we have offices in Tampa, Florida as well. We operate across the nation. There are a few states that we don't operate in, for example, like Hawaii and Alaska, Maryland, as you know, Kevin, would be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Certain states require different processes, but initially, the company was started about 10 years ago, I want to say, and ever since has grown exponentially every year, and hence has led to the development of coming into a new location, which is why we're now in Tennessee, and plans in the future to spread more across the country as well.
Okay.
We manage everything from abandoned homes to title transfers to mechanic liens, vessel liens, towing and storage liens, pretty much anything that has to do with the core system or the DMV. we can obtain the title for you.
And so that's not, if we have a mobile home park, not just the abandoned mobile homes themselves, but if someone abandons a vehicle, which is quite common, or maybe even abandons a boat, right? I mean, you guys can handle all that.
Yes, sir. That is actually, we're currently dealing with a client that has, I think, about 30 parks, and he literally came to us and said, I love that you've done all this work for me. What do I do with all these vehicles? And he had about 15 vehicles. And so now we're in the process of obtaining the titles for those vehicles. Some he may just have to sell off, and some he may, fix up and sell. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he wants to get them off of his land so that he can, make it look a lot nicer and not have abandoned vehicles sitting there.
Sure. How did you guys get into this industry? I mean, it's quite unique. I know there's not a lot of competition in this space. And so how did Snickfish even come about?
So initially, from the roots in Tampa, Florida, the owner, Nick, had a friend that, I guess he was a mechanic, and he had done work on a truck. And that person that was supposed to come pay for that work order never came. So he asked Nick, could you go and try to get the title for this? Well, when he went to obtain the title, he failed, I think, 2 times before he was actually able to correctly obtain it without any issues. And then when he realized how much of a pain in the butt it was, he saw that there was a niche in an industry there that could be catered to. He also realized that after doing some research, there really wasn't anyone doing it, and the ones that were doing it were really more state or county specific versus nationwide. So therein lies the opportunity for Snickfish to be a nationwide title management agency.
Okay. How about the name? I mean,
I asked him about that.
Very unique name. Where'd that come from?
So if you noticed, Nick Herman is the owner of the company. So if you noticed, Nick is in the name Snickfish. And Nick likes to go fishing. Nick said he wished he could be here today, by the way, and I meant to tell you this earlier.
But he's out fishing.
He's not fishing today, unfortunately. He's out and about doing some business. But he loves fishing. His name's Nick. I'm really not sure where the S came from. I asked. He said it just sounded good. And I said, well, what was clever was it's a name that's unforgettable. You don't forget it. And once you hear it, you automatically will associate it with title management because there's no other company named Snickfish.
Yeah.
Or even close.
Absolutely. It made me ask, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. So you mentioned the states that you don't operate in, Hawaii, Alaska, Maryland. Are there any other states that are added to that list that you guys currently do not operate in, or maybe that might be a little bit more challenging states than others?
Currently that I know of, there are no other states that we don't operate in. Now, I know there are some other challenging states. Georgia and Ohio are 2 great examples. In order for you to obtain the title on that abandoned home, it's a court-ordered process. And so generally about 90% of the work is completed through Snickfish. The other 10% would be through you or your attorney, whichever of you is available to show up in court to finish off the process. Just as a company, Snickfish cannot legally represent another company in court since we're not attorneys. That's all.
Sure. Okay. And then generally speaking, I know there's variables here, and so this might be a loaded question, but
sure.
Generally speaking, what is the typical cost that one could expect to pay to go through this title process?
Because it varies within each state and county, the costs associated within each one.
Give me like low range, high range.
Sure. I've seen it as low as 100 and as high as 250. Excuse me. Generally, that whatever fees are incurred through the DMV or the court, those are forwarded to the customer. You'll have a nominal admin fee, but it's generally very low. That's just for processing the work itself.
Okay.
That fee can range anywhere from $20 up to $100. It's dependent on.
And that's the fee to Snickfish, or?
The admin fee is our fee for actually doing the work.
Yeah. Okay.
The costs, the 100 to 250 is generally what we have seen when it comes to applying to get the title, listing fees through the papers, so on and so forth.
Okay. So maybe on the lowest of ranges, $100 or $150, and on the highest of ranges, including the fee to have Snickfish do the work. And this would be just generally speaking, guys. So we're not holding Aaron to this range at all, but maybe as high as maybe $500-$600, maybe $700 at the most. Is that a good rule of thumb?
I wouldn't say 5 or 6. I mean, 250 would be the high end.
Okay. So even after admin fees or anything like that, I know that. Okay, fair enough. Well, that's good. That's good news. That is very affordable in my mind, especially if you've got an abandoned home that actually has a value to it. I mean, I'll give you a great example. We acquired a community in Maryland. Unfortunately, one of the states is very challenging to get abandoned titles in, and it came with 7 abandoned homes, and 6 of the 7. Easily in the as-is condition that they were in had a value on the low end of about $4,000, and there were a few homes of those 6 that were probably worth anywhere between $8,000 and $9,000 as is before we did any work to them. And so even though it was a little bit more expensive in Maryland, we had to go through a court order process. It cost a lot more money to do it. It was still worth it in the long run. So for the most part, it is worth your time and energy to go through this process if you've got an abandoned home in your property. And in fact, legally speaking, even if it's an old dilapidated home, you legally can't take that thing and remove it or demolish it if it was left behind if you haven't legally obtained ownership to it. And so I know that there's plenty of owners out there that will say, hey, it's an old dilapidated home. They left it behind. They're not coming back to get it. I'm going to demo it, and I don't know it. Who cares, right? And I'm sure a lot of people get away with that, but that's not the legal way to do it. The best way to do it to keep yourself out of hot water would be to obtain the title, gain ownership of it, and then demo it or remove it from your community. So let's talk about your online platform. So I know that you guys kind of pride yourself in your online platform, and, that it's really easy, user-friendly. And so talk to me about that a little bit and what the process looks like. Maybe just walk us through new user, comes to your website. What does that process look like from beginning to end?
Sure. So OTM, which is Online Title Management, it is our proprietary platform that allows our clients to be able to manage their title inventory, whether it be through the abandoned home or title transfer. You can manage that from point A to point Z. You can generate reports. You can even just see your title inventory. You can download Excel sheets off of that. That way you can have a better overview of everything in process. I think, if just speaking from the client's point of view, coming in, it's very comprehensive. It's very easy to understand. You're assigned your user login and password. And from there, you can choose from a simple menu that allows you to choose what type of transaction you would like to do. That login is also consistent with whatever state you need to process your titles in. Each state has its own build out. The reason being, every state has its own process for obtaining a title in that state. And so if you were to choose abandoned homes, you would click that menu item. And the first thing it would ask you is, what's the year of the mobile home? What's the VIN number? What's the date? Who's the buyer? Who's the seller? So on and so forth. It would also ask you for any documents required by that state. So maybe it would be, proof of property taxes paid. If you have an existing title already for the mobile home, maybe you're just doing a transfer instead of an abandoned mobile home. And within that, after you've completed each transaction, what will happen is you'll be able to see from that particular transaction where it's at in its process. So on our end, after you've submitted the documents and all of the information pertaining to that home, we verify all the information, make sure that it's correct. And if it's not, we'll go ahead and deny it right then and there and let you know, hey, we need to get this fixed first before we can send it off to the court or the DMV. The reason being is if you ever have done any kind of title work and if there has been any kind of mess ups or anything that's missing, the DMV or the court will send it back and they will let you know that you have to redo it. That is painstaking when you're on a time crunch. So one of the reasons for having OTM is to mitigate the amount of errors that are occurring. And so that way your title process, your turnaround time is a lot quicker.
Got it. Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to ask you, what is the typical time frame? Again, lots of variables here, state to state. I'm sure it varies, but best case scenario, worst case scenario of how long one might expect it to take to get a new title issued?
For an abandoned mobile home, we're looking at 1 to 3 months. It's, again, depending on the state and the county. If you're looking at doing a title transfer, it can be anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks.
Got it. What are some of the states, just off the top of your head, what are some of the states that take longer than others? I mean, are there a few that just come to mind that are very lengthy in nature?
From my recollection, I know Ohio was being court ordered.
Okay.
There was quite a few things that we had to do just to get the process started, certain documentation. California, I believe, was one of them. Georgia.
Not surprised there.
California's got a lot going on.
Yeah, it does.
Any of the court-ordered states are generally a little bit harder, just because you're not dealing. A lot of the times, the DMVs within each state have similar processes, but are not always the same. With the court systems, it varies in different judges, different offices that you have to call to get the right information and verify and whatnot. So.
Okay. Got it. How about if I know we ran into this personally ourselves. What happens if a mobile home, it doesn't have a VIN number? Like I know those, the ID tags that are on the inside of the homes that come, when they leave the manufacturer's floor, those things, if it's an older mobile home, those things get torn off, they get painted over. I mean, it's quite common that they're nowhere, they don't exist anywhere in the trailer. And so typically what you do after that point in time is you go look on the, the front beam of the trailer, take the skirting off, and normally the VIN number might be stamped in there. I've had instances where that's not the case either, where it's not there. I mean, it's literally, it doesn't exist. It's not stamped anywhere on the frame. Is it possible to obtain a title on a mobile home that was abandoned that we can't, the owner, or I guess the park owner can't obtain or can't find the VIN number on? Yes.
I cannot confirm for every state, but I can confirm that is able to be done. Generally, you have to have an officer or a sheriff come out and do an inspection of the mobile home to verify that there is no VIN. And if they verify that there isn't a VIN, then you can go to the court or the DMV and submit paperwork to obtain a brand new VIN for that particular mobile home.
Got it. Okay. Got it. That makes sense. And then what if your company, what if we hire you to obtain titles on our behalf but you're not successful for whatever reason? You have all the information. I don't know. Maybe this just doesn't happen. If you're not successful, is the fee refundable, or how does that work?
Of course. We want our clients to be happy. So if you have paid us to do work and we were unable to complete that work for you, you will receive your money back. We're all about doing good business. We want good good ratings from the Better Business Bureau.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to come back to us. And so we're not the kind of company that says, hey, no refund. Sorry, you paid us. It's ours now. If the work's not done, the work's not done. You're getting your money back.
Are there situations where that's happened, like to where you file the paperwork, but there's just some states or some counties that it's just nearly impossible to get this process handled through, or no? I mean, is that kind of few and far between?
Not so much in that area. Generally, we do our research first before we, agree to take money from anyone, because we don't. That just creates more headache having to turn around and send them the money back. So in the cases I've seen where we've had to refund money would be maybe a customer had submitted information to us to obtain the title, maybe on a vehicle, and they did not complete the process, and it was weeks out, and we can't get a hold of them. Generally, we'll just submit a check back to them to the address that they sent it from, because we can't complete the order without having the rest of the information input, but without them, so essentially we'll send the money back. Those are the only types of cases I've seen. Not really a, hey, we told you we could do it, sorry, we can't do it. We haven't really seen any of that.
Okay, got it. What if there's back taxes owed on the trailer itself? I mean, would that be the responsibility then of the person looking to obtain a new title? Would they have to be paid up in full?
That's a good question. I can't remember which state it's in. I want to say Illinois, but I could be wrong. So in some states, when you go to do, when you've acquired that mobile home park and you go to do your title transfers, maybe the previous park owner did not pay property taxes. There are some states which will make you pay back tax.
Okay.
There are other states, again, I can't recall which one in particular. I was just reading this the other day. Say, for example, if it was Illinois, and they did this, they essentially, if you were the new park owner and you obtained that park and all that, and you did the title transfer, since you're a new owner of that park and you were not the pre-existing owner, you would not have to pay the back tax on it. It's kind of, a forgiveness program. I'm not sure exactly, but I know that in certain cases, you don't always have to pay the back tax.
Okay, good deal. How about anything that we haven't talked about, Aaron, that you feel would be relevant and good for our listeners to know regarding your service, regarding abandoned title process, regarding anything?
I think for those that are going into the industry, it's wonderful right now. There are so many parks to acquire, at least from the national list that I have seen in the past. There's about 39,000 mobile home parks in this country, and God knows only a handful are owned by mobile home community owners, and the rest are all mom and pops. So I guess my words of advice to mobile home investors, brokers, is go out there and find them. Keep doing what you're doing. There's profitability. If you run into any issues as far as abandoned homes, or if you need to do title transfers, give us a call. But don't forget, when you acquire mobile home parks and you're looking at abandoned vessels or vehicles, that's also some things that we can take care of for you as well.
And even self-storage facilities. So for those communities, it's we don't own any that have self-storage facilities inside the park, but it used to be a common practice. You'd see a mobile home owner and they'd have some vacant land. Instead of expanding the park, they might go put 20, 30, 50 self-storage units in that vacant piece of property. And so you guys also handle any type of abandoned property that might be left behind in a self-storage unit as well, correct?
Correct. We actually work with a number of clients that not only own mobile home parks, but also own self-storage facilities.
Okay.
I think I've even seen a couple that are in combination where you'll have, in the same land, storage facility as well as the park.
Yep. Okay. So if you own a standalone self-storage facility, or if you have one inside your park, either way, your company can help.
Correct. Yes, sir. Okay.
Well, fantastic. Well, Aaron, how can we find out more about you and your company? Is it your website, snickfish.com? Is that the best place to go?
Snickfish, SNICK fish.com. If you want to learn a little bit more about mobile homes, type in that same URL and do /mobile-homes. And you'll get a little video that gives you a little bit more in-depth view of kind of what we do and how we do it.
Okay, fantastic. Well, guys, that's all we have for today's episode. But before we say goodbye, I just want to remind you quickly of the free gift that we offer every listener that takes the time to go over to iTunes to leave the 5-star rating and review. We'll give you the exact cold call script that we use in our very own mobile home park business. And you hear us talk a lot about doing direct mail or cold calling owners. And I'll tell you that our cold calling efforts have yielded us about half of our portfolio today. And so it's definitely something you need to be implementing into your business. And we'll give you the exact cold call script that we use ourselves if you leave that review on iTunes. And here's what you're going to do, redeem that gift from us. After you submit your review to iTunes, go ahead and send us an email to gift@mobilehomeparkacademy.com. Just tell us who you are and what screen name that you use to leave the review, and we'll shoot that cold call script right back to you. Also, be sure to stop by the Mobile Home Park Academy website at mobilehomeparkacademy.com, and you can download our free ebook, which is called The 21 Biggest Mistakes Investors Make When Purchasing Their First Mobile Home Park and How to Avoid Them. And it's a free book. It's a must read whether you're getting into the space now or you already own your first park or maybe a few parks. Either way, I guarantee there's going to be some nuggets of advice in there that you take away and that can save you tens of thousands of dollars. So guys, I want to thank you again for stopping by and joining us here. And Aaron, I want to thank you for joining us here as well. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Look forward to following the success of your company, Snickfish, as you guys help all of us park owners obtain titles for our abandoned homes and all the other property that we end up with in our community. So thank you, my friend, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and you have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you. You as well, Kevin.
Congratulations for taking the necessary steps to achieving massive success through the highly lucrative niche of mobile home park investing. Be sure to visit our website, mobilehomeparkacademy.com, to download your free digital ebook version of the 21 biggest mistakes investors make when buying their first mobile home park and how you can avoid them. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe to our free monthly mobile home park investing newsletter, which is jammed full of valuable tips, tricks, and strategies to help you accelerate your path to success as a mobile home park investor. More information about this podcast and its hosts can be found by visiting mobilehomeparkacademy.com.